Feeling better? Hi, if you've not joined me before, my name's Christie. I'm currently 12 weeks pregnant with my second baby. I already have a 1-year-old with my husband Steve, who's just here, and she's making her presence very known today. She's a right little character, so it will be a real adventure bringing another one into the family this December coming. If you want to follow along my pregnancy journey, please subscribe and like and comment on this video so that I can put out more pregnancy content. But otherwise today I'm just going to update you on what's been going on in the last week, how I've been feeling, and I've also had a scan this week, so I can tell you a bit about that. Chris is just playing in the background, so you'll hear a bit of her here and there. So firstly, if I talk about my 12-week scan, which I had, that's the NHS dating scan. So I had that on Tuesday just gone, and I dated myself at that scan as 12 weeks and 2 days, and they've actually put me back now to 11 weeks and 6 days. So I am now in my 12th week of pregnancy anyway, but I was a few days behind what I thought I was, which means that my due date is now the 5th of January 2022. However, as I've mentioned in these updates before, I'm hoping to have a planned C-section this time, which will likely be around 39 weeks, so it'll probably be the end of December. The 12-week scan went really well, everything's progressing really nicely. I've always loved how much it changes between like 6 or 7 weeks, when we had an early scan with Grace as well, and we also had one with this baby, and then 12 weeks. They really changed from just like a tiny little bean to an actual baby, so that was a really nice experience. Now, because of COVID, Steve is actually allowed to come to the scans with me. However, he has to have a lateral flow test beforehand, so he had that. He had that, and that was all fine, so he's able to come to the scan with me. There's still a question of whether he'll be able to come to my GP appointments with me, as in my midwife appointments, which I have at the GP. Because they've now opened in my trust, like the midwife appointments, etc., to partners but only in the hospital, they haven't actually rolled that out to GP surgeries yet. So at the moment I'm going along to like my checks and stuff on my own, but hopefully that will change in the future. So once they'd done the scan, I went and had my blood test. I opted for the combined screening for Downs, Edwards, and I think I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of the last one. I think it's Pateau's, which are syndromes that they can test for at this stage. To do so, they have to take a measurement from the back of the baby's neck during the ultrasound, and also a blood test. So you have to consent to all of that testing, which I did. So hopefully I'll get my letter in the next few weeks. They did say if it was high risk that I would hear within 72 hours, and I haven't heard anything. So I guess no news is good news. And we'll wait for that to come through in the post. So on to symptoms then. The main symptom that I've been experiencing this week is just pure exhaustion. It's gone beyond the stage of tiredness now. I feel like I'm getting loads of sleep. I'm probably getting at least 14 hours sleep a day, because I'm sleeping from about 8 o'clock I go to sleep, but I'm also having like a nap of an evening as well. So I'm sleeping a lot, which means that I should really have a lot more energy when I'm awake, but I just feel like my whole body is just heavy and like lead. So on a Wednesday, I have the day off work because I have Grace, and on this Wednesday just gone, I felt like I couldn't even move from the sofa to play with her properly. So mum guilt's really setting in for me now, because I feel like I should be able to do those things, but where this pregnancy is obviously affecting me with the hormones, making me tired, all that kind of stuff, I'm not able to do as much as I was doing before. So I've been kind of battling with that within myself this week, but hopefully I start to recover my energy levels into the second trimester. I feel like the first trimester should be named the worst trimester. I've really not enjoyed it this time. I didn't enjoy it very much the first time either, but now having a toddler to deal with, you can probably hear in the background Steve's with her. He's probably said no to something. Having a toddler to deal with as well is just making it so much harder on me. So I'm hoping now that I'm going into a nice trimester where I'll feel more full of energy and a little bit more glowing and get that lovely pregnancy blooming feeling. On Thursday this week, I don't know whether it was possibly relating to the scan, but I just had the worst pain through my pelvis and down into my thighs. And when I started to research it, a lot of Dr. Google said that pelvic girdle pain's really common to set in around 12 to 14 weeks. So I think I might be experiencing a bit of that. Obviously my pregnancies have been quite close together. So Grace was only a year old when I fell pregnant with this baby. So really I haven't had an enormous gap. So I think that might be contributing to it as well. But it was just a whole day where even through taking painkillers and stuff, I was feeling like this really intense pain around my pelvis and into my thighs and couldn't really move a lot. Even just sitting was causing me a lot of discomfort. So luckily I'm working from home at the minute, which means I can be a bit more flexible about where I'm sat and how I'm positioning myself to make myself most comfortable. But I'll be looking forward to that hopefully easing off as well. If it does get worse, I'm considering going to see an osteopath. Because my friend saw an osteopath for pelvic girdle pain in her pregnancy and said that it really helped. So I'm willing to try anything if it's going to help me, but hopefully I won't need to, and hopefully it eases off. I've noticed that I'm definitely starting to feel a little bit more emotional and a bit more sentimental about things. I think I said that in my last update as well. It all kind of culminated this week when I had a dentist appointment, and I mean the hygienist wasn't very nice anyway. I'd never seen her before, so I wasn't like expecting it, but she was just like really rough, even after me explaining that I was a bit of a dental phobe and all this kind of stuff. And it was just, I felt like the emotion come up within me, and then before I knew it, I was literally crying tears in the dentist chair, and the nurse had to like say, "Oh, are you actually okay? I'm sure I just saw a tear escaping from your eye," because I had the goggles on as well. And then I just like burst into tears, but not just like a little whimper, it was like a full-on hormonal pregnancy cry in the dentist. I was so embarrassed, and I think it was partly that I wasn't, like the treatment wasn't going very well and it was very painful, but also just the hormones and the emotion just all came out at once. So I've been grappling with that a little bit, and like songs on the radio will tip me over the edge and stuff. But the other thing that I've noticed, which is really quite an unpleasant symptom, which I had with Grace and I'm having again, is like anxiety and fear of really bad things happening, like a fear of freak accidents. And I'm experiencing it with Grace, but I think it's relating to the pregnancy, if you see what I mean. So I'm worrying about Grace going to nursery. I'm having like these weird like visions in my head of like someone coming to pick her up and them not checking that I know that person, and then when I go to pick her up she's not there, and or her falling down the stairs and all this kind of stuff, and it's like really vivid and it's quite upsetting. So I remember having that with Grace before she was born. We had a dog at the time who had some behavioural problems, and I felt really nervous about bringing her into that environment. I remember that used to make me feel really upset, and it's sort of the same this time around. It's like my hormones are getting the better of me and letting my mind run wild with these scenarios that aren't actually that likely, but they feel really vivid and really like real in my head. So I'm expecting that to continue throughout the pregnancy, because it did obviously continue with Grace, and I wonder whether it will, like the direction of those anxieties will move more towards the baby as time goes on as well. I guess sort of related is just how vivid my dreams are, and I've always dreamed a lot anyway, and I can remember my dreams and stuff, but at the minute they're particularly vivid, and even if I'm having a nap I'm dreaming quite a lot. So yeah, I guess related to the anxiety, a lot of that's coming through my dreams too. So let me just attempt to show you my bump. That probably wasn't the most flattering shot, but as you can see, my belly button has come out already. It came out quite early with Grace as well. Like my stretch marks are starting to appear darker, and I'm imagining that I'll gain a few more this time round as well, but I've resolved that with myself. That doesn't really bother me anymore. and it's quite nice now, especially towards the end of the day. It feels like a firm bump rather than bloat, which was what I had in the first trimester. So it's quite nice. I can wear like more tight dresses and fitted stuff, and it looks like I'm pregnant rather than I've just had a big dinner. So that's everything that I had to update you on this week for my 12th week of pregnancy. If you like pregnancy content and you want to stick around and follow my journey, then please do subscribe, and I will see you next week for week 13.